Yo, 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 Salaam Nerds! This is Watch with Neebs, and I'm here with Jazz. Say what's up, Jazz.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to our elevator joke show featuring my boy George.
Yeah, George is someone I met on TikTok. George, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
My name is George, and I think I'm hilarious, and some people don't, but that's okay.
I think you're hilarious.
That's all that matters. The only thing that matters is if Neebs thinks I'm funny. That's it.
The reason why I started off with the whole elevator jokes thing, George, tell us about what you did in an elevator.
Oh, I do a lot of stuff in an elevator. I love elevator jokes. I feel like they are wasted opportunity in comedy. I think I would love to see a comedian just have a comedy special, just sit in the elevator, just messing with people. That's where I work in an office place, and you have to make it fun. So like, I'll just be in an elevator, right? And I'll see like, a little old white lady sitting there, and I'll just be like, "That's a real nice purse." and I see she hit the 5th floor button, but she got off on the 2nd floor.
That is sus.
Yeah, but a friend of mine was sitting there, and I was telling her the story. She was like, "I believe it, because I remember the first time we met." And I was like, "Yeah, I remember we were sitting in the class." She was like, "That is not the first time we met." And that's never a good sentence for anybody to say. And so I was like, "Okay, so when did we meet?" And she said, "The first time we met." And she was like, in like one of those scooter wheelchairs. She was like, "The first time we met, I got in the elevator, and then a whole bunch of people got in the elevator, and then you got in the elevator last. And then from across the elevator, you looked at me, the only black person, was like, boy, there's a whole lot of white people in here." I'm not saying it's bad. She's saying there's a lot of them.
It's just an observation.
And I was like, I have no memory of that, but past George is hilarious, so it probably happened.
That's funny. That's funny. See, we brown people, the place for us to make jokes would be the airport, but I don't think we should play like that. I don't think that's risky. I think that's too risky for us.
No, please don't.
We'll end up in Guantanamo.
I feel like that. I feel like I would still try. Like, what's the mildest joke that I could make there? And I know my wife would yell and be like, "George, don't do that." I wouldn't be able to stop myself.
Oh man,
Right.
That's funny. That's funny.
I know what I would do. I would bring the Quran, like a big copy of it, and just keep it in my bag, right? But like, it's big enough to where TSA will be concerned about it. And I'll be like, yeah.
That's so funny. I tell my people at my job that like, you guys got to, if you're coming to the airport with me, bring some extra time for you, because one of us is going to get searched, and that's going to be me. I call it the brown tax.
That I recommend global entry. Global entry, man. Get it.
I can finally feel privileged. Okay, all right.
only at the airport. Only at the airport. That's where the roles are reversed.
Now I'm gonna have to, whenever I'm feeling low, or like, man, I'm gonna go to the airport. It's like, listen, man, I'm paying $500 for this flight, but at least I can get. This is America.
That's funny. That's good. All right, so we usually start the show off talking about the biggest show out right now, which was the Book of Boba Fett. The finale happened. Fantastic finale. I think it's one of those shows where like you were waiting for something to build up, and they did not disappoint. They did not disappoint. Jazz, what's your opinion about the episode?
Okay, so I'm gonna have a hot take here. Actually,
Ooh.
I did like it, but I don't think it was as exciting as it could be.
Really?
Yes, and here's why. I mean, I
You were a
loved
Rancor
how.
though, right? You saw that, right? Like when he was.
Yeah, I saw the Rancor like destroying everybody. I saw the Rancor eating that one dude. I saw the Rancor slamming him down. Oh, by the way, we should probably say spoilers. Please do not watch this if you haven't seen it.
They deserve it if they haven't seen it.
Right, I should start with that. Anyways, I spoiled it. Get over it. But here's the thing, man. Like, the action scenes were cool. I thought it dragged on a bit though. Like in some parts, it got kind of slow, and I was like, oh, okay. But
I feel like they did that on purpose to build up the big Rancor reveal, right? That was supposed to be Boba's moment. That was his moment to shine, because that's from the Christmas special. In the Christmas special, he like rides this giant like animal, and I think it was a little bit of a throwback to that.
Oh, for sure.
I thought like people really enjoy that. And I mean, there's some things that were a little cheesy, like that 360 spin. I know everyone saw that.
Oh my god!
I loved it.
Oh.
I absolutely loved it.
Listen, my man just had to put a little swag onto that. That's all he had to do, man.
We love that stuff in like video games or like different types of media. And you're like, if they said, George, we're about to film this thing, but like we'll let you freestyle a little bit. I'm going with the spin.
I know.
That's fair.
I'm
That's
definitely
fair.
going with the spin, and I would dare anybody to be like, George, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
No. I
like, come on.
agree. The spin was fun. The issue was for me, it dragged on, and at the end, I wish there was more. I wish, like, yes, Cad Bane died, great, right? And I was actually very satisfied. Oh, he did. I was actually very satisfied with the way he died. He's like, normally they drag that on, like, oh, the villains always keep talking. But no, for the first time, like, he literally just tripped him up and just stabbed him in the heart. I'm like, okay, good. That was fantastic. I appreciate that.
Look, there's actually reason to believe he may not be dead, and that's because a tweet that Rosario Dawson put out, I don't know if you've seen it, but she said something like she hopes that her character would meet Cad Bane. Why would she say that if he's dead? I don't know.
Well, wouldn't Ahsoka technically be before this time then?
We don't know what time Ahsoka takes place. I think it's in the same timeline as Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, but wouldn't it be like slightly before?
I think it's at the same time. I think, I think she's there with Baby Yoda, Grogu, and then the Mandalorian leaves and this happened. So it's really just like whatever happened with Ahsoka.
She brought Grogu to the planet too.
I actually really enjoyed how they played with time throughout the beginnings. And well, let me just say, and I think I told you earlier, I hadn't heard anything about the Book of Mandalorian before Wednesday, so I watched it all like one long movie, and I was like, this is the best Star Wars movie. This was especially if you saw like the show Mandalorian, it almost had like Spider-Man No Way Home feelings where you're like, they brought in the other thing to this thing.
I love that.
Like I like that kind of stuff. So with the whole build up and everything like that, I didn't have the week to week like what's gonna happen next? Who's gonna do this thing? It was just straight up like.
It's so interesting that like some shows are better when you binge them, and some shows are better when they're spread out. It's very unique, and like
you know what?
I think like
maybe that's it. Maybe because I watched it week to week, I was expecting more. Maybe I should give it a second chance by watching season 2 episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Like if I just watched the last few back to back, I think it might be a different experience. I don't know. I was expecting a bit more. I was expecting a bit more spectacle. Like, it seemed tame.
I feel like that's a really great point, and I think that point of like some shows are better if you binge it, and some shows are better if you watch it all the way through. I think when you watch like the Marvel TV shows, like something like WandaVision is something where you should be like, take a break, like have a week to week, come up with their fun theories. But maybe something like Loki, you could like hit the button and be like, let me watch this solid adventure all the way through.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
I agree. So I definitely see how some shows, like how they're built, like to build that suspense from like at the end of the episode, like, I don't know,
Yep.
But then how do you know without spoilers? Because if I were to do it week to week, right? Or
that's the gamble.
Yeah, it's the gamble.
That's the gamble.
Okay.
That's the gamble. I actually made a video saying I wish Eternals was made a week to week show, and I think that it would have been so much better.
I think so
if
too.
Eternals was broken up into a week to week because we would have had that build up of like everybody in there talking who killed Ajax. That would have been a thing.
You're right. That's such a great point. Like the internet would have been crazy about who killed Ajax and who's really behind it. And then when the reveal happened, that's such a great point. Oh my god.
And there would have been all kind of crazy theories and dumb stuff like Thanos killed her, like
Yes.
would have like a lot of fun dumb theories.
The Mad Reader killed it.
Yeah, that is so funny. I never thought about Eternals as a TV show and having it breaking. That's totally cool. And then people are thinking like, when is Kit Harington's character coming in? Right? Find out he's not in there the whole time until the very end. So yeah, that would have been really cool. Wow, interesting.
It's like, have y'all seen that meme recently? It's like Netflix, like, hey, want to sit down and watch a 10-hour movie? And the person's like, no, God, no. It's like, what if I split that 10-hour movie into 10 episodes and you binge it all at once?
Yes.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
That's me.
That's
It's like, I
so
will
funny.
watch the heck out of a 10-hour show. It's like, oh, this movie's 3 hours long, and I'm like, I gotta plan my day around it.
I like that. One of the cool things is like we got to see Baby Yoda wear the little chainmail stuff, the Mandalorian
cute.
stuff, so we know what he chose. I thought that was really cool. And then he just comes in with the Force. Like I'm really happy the way it happened, because I feel like they were gonna make Baby Yoda do everything, right? Just kill everybody and crash, but they didn't. They saved that to be Boba's moment, right, with the Rancor, and I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they didn't steal that moment away from Boba and gave it to Baby Yoda or give it to the Mandalorian. He got to be the one to do it, and I like the way it ended.
One of the other things that I really liked about the show that I think doesn't get talked about enough is his age. Because a lot of times, like when we see like an action hero and people are up and doing stuff, and it's like, you know, late teens, early 20s, and they're going around wielding stuff. And yeah, there's the Avengers, but like, Tony's got a suit. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like all up on it, but like Boba Fett, this wasn't like young Boba Fett. This is somebody's dad, maybe like maybe has a like baby granddaughter age, and he's like physically getting it in, physically doing stuff. So that's another thing that I really liked about the show.
No, very true. No,
I will admit though, the action sequences there, like especially when he has like the rockets coming out of his knees and just blasters everywhere, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a great episode. It's just, I keep coming back to the stupid finale. Like I was expecting more. Like I keep saying that. I need to change the subject.
I will. Okay, so overall, I would still give it a B+. It's a B+ show for me. Jazz, I think it's a little lower for you. What about
no.
you?
B+ is accurate.
Accurate? Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
B+ is accurate.
I think B+.
I
is good.
am 100% calling it A+.
Ooh.
Like I said, how I uniquely watched it, and especially like the whole implication of Star Wars, and the very, I would say, dangerous kind of path that they would have had to have walked to. Like, you have a crazy amount of source material, and if you get some time wrong, anything at all that's like not like some nerd's gonna like have his giant book and be like, that didn't happen at this point in this juncture. They had a lot of like things to have to make sure that they got right, and I thought they got it all right. I was a fan. I was shocked by how much I liked it.
Solid,
they did put a lot of detail in this whole series, like that in the racing scene, where like in Phantom Menace, right, where Anakin was pod racing and he blew up that gate, right? You saw details of that in Book of Boba Fett. That was fantastic. I love all the throwbacks. I love the BD-1 droid. I don't know if y'all actually know this, but they actually had a lot of callbacks to the video games, which are canon, but they're trying to like push to the side. Like Fallen Order and Battlefront 2, right?
Yes,
they had a lot of Easter eggs that reference these games, and I thought that was pretty fantastic.
That's a good game.
Yeah, oh dude, I had a great time. Like that droid, it's BD-1. It's straight up BD-1. Like if you played the games, you know who it is.
Oh man, that's they could still get that actor. That actor, he's from Shameless, right? And he played the character in the video game Fallen Order. They could easily cast him.
Yes, and he's actually done it. He's actually was in a different game, and I remember he was a actual actor for the adaptation. So he's done it before, and he's decent.
He's such a great actor. He was also the Joker in the show Gotham, and he was phenomenal.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
he was. They did his likeness in one of the Batman games, and he did show up in Gotham. That's right. That's exactly what it was.
Also, can we take a moment to just talk about that game? Can we take a moment to like just appreciate how good video games have gotten with like making people look like the real person? Like they look like the real person now. I was playing the game Death Stranding. I'm not sure if you played that before, but it's got like a lot of like famous actors in it, and like they look creepily like that actor. I was like, we're in a golden age.
Have you seen Black Mirror and Striking Vipers episode?
Yes. Oh
I don't watch Black Mirror because I like to sleep at night.
Yeah, don't watch Black Mirror. Yo, Black Mirror.
And I will be up till 4 a.m, not even scared, but like wondering like, what is that thing? I was like, you guys won't get me.
No, Black Mirror is a show you want to watch to fuck up your day. Like, it'll mess up your whole day.
I saw like one episode. I saw like the Star Trek episode, and all the actors in it were great. I love that lady who played the mom on How I Met Your Mom. It was such a good episode, but I was like, this proved why you don't watch Black Mirror, George. Because now I'm up 3 weeks later, like charting out the realities of like what happened.
All right, cool. The other thing I want to talk about. So one of the things that me and George have bonded over quite a bit, and it's our culture, right? So I'm Muslim and I'm brown, and you mentioned that you were a Jehovah's Witness, which it's interesting.
Yes, actually, funny story. I'm getting baptized tomorrow.
Oh, no way. That's
Congrats.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was really
Thank you.
funny because I pointed out to you, because we actually bonded over the show Community, and in Community, Abed is like a brown
Yo, Troy
Muslim,
and Abed!
and you're a black
Yes.
Jehovah's Witness, and it's like, yo, we're like the equivalent of like Troy and Abed in the morning.
Let's try to do it. Let's try to do it. 1, 2, 3.
Troy and Abed in the morning.
Nice.
All right, we'll sync that up in post.
We'll sing it out. We try.
We'll fix it.
It's Neves and George in the morning.
But actually, in all seriousness, my most popular video that I've ever had on TikTok at all was actually talking about their friendship and how, like, on paper, they shouldn't have been friends because of all the great amount of difference they have. Like, one came from a jock background and you know, a bullied nerd, and you know, a Muslim person who I'm given to understand is like, you know, certain restrictions, and being a Jehovah's Witness and knowing there's certain amount of restrictions in your life. But one of the things that make them be very great friends too. All right. One of the things that make them be like such great friends is that they gave each other something that nobody ever gave them, which is the space to be themselves. Like somebody who says, you know what, I know you and all of you, and that's great. You keep doing you. You be great. And neither one of them ever had that.
Honestly, it's one of the best friendships on television, and I loved it. And one of my
Agreed.
favorite episodes is when they do the Glee episode, and Troy can't celebrate Christmas, so Abed's like, oh, I can't celebrate Christmas either. So they're like, let's pretend like we're going undercover to learn about Christmas, so we can be like sleeper cells.
And I do the rap.
Wait, what's the name of the song? I think it's Jehovah's Secret Witness or
Yeah,
something like that.
Secret Christmas or something like that. It's so funny. It's one of the like favorite episodes, and I just like, it's so cool that like they bring their cultures together, and you get to see both of their cultures a little bit, and then
Well, that's kind of his background. Donald Glover. He was I believe I think he was like raised as Jehovah's
yes, he was.
It's called Christmas Infiltration, and it's Troy and Abed's Christmas rap. Season 3 Community. Thank you.
Which I can attest that's not a real thing. I'll just put it out there right now. We don't have secret agents. We don't have secret agents studying.
Listen, we don't need to put that out there because people think we're Muslims are secret agents already, so we don't need to.
Give them the sound bites. Give them the sound bites.
Well,
Let's
also
not.
that's funny because that's like a reversal on that take, right?
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's like somebody's implicated in it. That's funny.
That's good. So speaking of cultures, one of the things that you're doing right now for Black History Month, where you were talking about a lot of these African American TV shows, and you mentioned like all of these amazing TV shows, and one of the things that I realized is that I actually watched a lot more Black TV shows than I did some of the white ones, because I felt more seen or more related to the Black community than I did to the white community, right? So like I grew up like shows like the Wayans Brothers, Moesha, Sister,
Yes.
like these were the shows that I watched, and I also grew up in Newark,
Fresh Prince,
right? So
Static
yeah,
Shock.
Fresh Prince. Like I also grew up in Newark, which was like the hood, so like everyone I knew was Black, or at least like they watched these shows, and I wanted to watch what everybody else was watching, right? So I related way more to these shows than to Friends, than to like Full House. Like I didn't really relate to them as much, right? Like I love Boy Meets World, but like my life was nothing like Boy Meets World, right? You
watched My Brother and Me, and you're like, yeah, that's what
right.
it's like.
My life was closer to like Everybody Hates Chris. Like those were the kind of stuff that I was in, right? Because that's where I grew up.
Real close.
Exactly, and it's so funny how similar our cultures are, and we don't even know it. Like there is so much. Like the other day, I heard a Black person called diabetes sugar, and I was like, you guys call it that too? I was like,
What?
I thought it was. I thought we were the one that called it the sugar. I was like, it's so interesting.
There was an episode of 30 Rock where Tracy was talking about diabetes, and he was like, yeah, my sister has messed up sugar. You know, it's like, that's how we talk. But here's the thing that I will throw you a curveball that you might not have realized, because I didn't even realize until I was doing this thing. I know how you said, like, you know, growing up, and you're like, I really watched a lot of these shows like Moesha and the Wayans Brothers, things like that. And if you take a look at it, you're like, but probably not so much now.
Yes.
There's probably not so much now that there's like so many of them. And when it is a Black show, it almost has like a banner of it that says that this is a black show, as opposed to, what was it, the park? Well, the park is the wrong one to pick for that. I'll say Moesha or Smart Guy.
Oh God, I
Didn't
love
have a
Smart Guy.
banner that said like, hey, this is a black people show. It just had black people in it. But now there's a show with black people. It's almost like in the mid, I'll say 2000s. It was almost like culturally they were like, boom, we did it. Equality has been reached. We've got enough black shows to the point where when Blackish comes out, it's a thing. It's a thing on TV now. Yeah, right.
You know why they did something like that? Because back then there was a channel that focused on this, and it was UPN, right? And UPN had
Yes,
a
it
lot of
was.
these shows, and UPN
Channel
got
20.
yes, and UPN got bought by CW. So once CW bought UPN, they started pushing they started pushing shows like Gossip Girl. They started pushing shows like Gilmore Girls, any show with girls in it. Like I sort of
Which I love, by the way, but still.
I know.
Not to the extent of the culture.
Exactly, right? And I noticed that a lot of these shows started going away and like not being from that culture. Like I didn't notice. And I didn't notice that I was like things that I gravitated towards were kind of being taken away from me, and then it was kind of and then stuff was being pushed onto me that like where like I just couldn't relate to it, but I'm watching it because everybody else is watching it now, right?
Yeah.
Gossip Girl,
Yeah, like, that's the show.
Gossip Girl has nothing to do with me, but I watched that shit because I was like, oh shit, who's Gossip Girl? Like it has
That's
nothing.
exactly how I feel. It's like I can't relate to anybody's life on this show at all. But let's see what happens next.
You want to know what the most representation that we got in Gossip Girl is? The halal carts outside of the freaking sidewalk. That's the most representation we got on Gossip Girl.
But well, here's another thing I'll pose to you guys, and maybe you'll have another perspective on it as I do. There was one of the videos that I made where I was like, one of the things that is a cultural phenomenon that I've seen is that if a show has, I would say, like 3 unrelated black people, then it's a black show. If the show has 2 males in it that are unrelated and a black girl, people will consider a black show, to the point where I was utterly shocked when New Girl had both Coach and Winston on there.
Yes!
Me as a black man was
Yes!
surprised to see their number. It's just 2.
That's so
It is
true.
2 unrelated black guys on a show and a third black person. That's a black show.
You're blowing my mind.
I don't know if the same thing holds with like with South Asian people and TV shows. Because honestly, besides a Seats Ansari show, I'm trying to think of shows that have a lot of people.
No.
Quantico.
Yeah, oh,
Quantico.
God, no, don't mention Quantico, okay?
I'm mentioning Quantico.
We do not mention Priyanka Chopra in this house.
Okay, fair.
I love
You're right. She's a Jonas brother now. She's white.
Yeah, but no, I you know what? It's so weird because like
I'm
we're
getting
conditioned. We're conditioned to think that way. Because when Coach got on New Girl, and you're like, oh, they can't have 2 people, and you're like, I'm like, why would I ever think something? Why would that even cross my mind?
Why would that be a thing?
Like, because there's 10 different white guys on there, and nobody bats an eye, but you have 2 black guys in a loft, and it's like weird to you, like.
Yeah.
This-
Same thing with Community. As soon as Shirley left, they brought in that old black guy.
They did.
Yeah. Two unrelated black people, and you're on the border. If you bring in the third, you've got a black show.
Okay. What about the Mindy Project?
I have a lot of strong feelings about the Mindy Project.
Okay, we're on the same boat. Amazing.
So I try. I do my best to not, I guess, comment on a culture that isn't my own. So, like, let's say I watch a TV show, I see some sort of cultural phenomenon, I'm like, George, mind your business. This is not a thing for you to have. But I was like, I turned to my wife and I was like, why didn't she date black guys? Why do they have to force her to date an Indian guy? And everybody else is white.
You said it.
Trust me, we know. So, and it's funny that you mentioned this because right now, there's a new show that just came out called Love is Blind Season 2. Everyone's talking about it. And there's 2 Indian contestants. They're not characters, they're actual people. Openly talking about how they don't date Indian people. Openly talking about how they only date white people. And they don't see a problem with that. They don't see... And they're not talking about it like it's a preference. They're talking about it like it's something that they're almost bragging about it, right? They're proud of it. And it's really weird.
That's reverse colonization right there. That is, yo, your ancestors screwed us over. We're gonna take your kids
Can I tell you?
and ruin your genetic line.
The video of mine on TikTok that got the second most interactions ever until like real recently was shocking to me. A video that I made about Raj from Big Bang Theory, and of the reasons why I felt Raj was the worst, because
Raj is definitely
the worst.
But the thing of, I'll say mostly white guys pushing back on the fact that I said it's not me making it up. If you watch the show, he sees dating white women as what he wants to do and desirable. He's forced to date an Indian person. There's nobody else. Any other Indian person that he's been that he is seen as a partner, somebody who was forced upon him. But if he has his choice, and so I brought that up, and out of the woodworks, I was like, I don't see how this is not.
Honestly, this is a trope that needs to die. Because Mindy Kaling show did this, the Aziz Ansari show did this, Big Bang Theory did this. Every show feels like the need to bring this up and do this, right? And they're not even doing it in a way to say, this is internalized racism. This is what people deal with. It's a joke to them. It's a punching line. It's a setup for jokes later on, and it's really, I don't want to say disrespectful, but it's
disheartening.
Disheartening to see it
like,
over and over.
Looking back at it, yeah, and it's the colorism. It's a real problem. There's a multi-billion-dollar industry of like skin bleaching and whitening cream, right? We have this thing called Fair and Lovely. I've been told to use it. Look at my skin. Do you think I need to be any lighter than this? I have been told to use Fair and Lovely, or for the men, it's Fair and Handsome. Excuse me. I've been told to use it, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. This is dumb.
It's weird.
My issue is that, and I take this old joke from if you've ever saw the show Daria, and the one girl was like, oh, she has a poster and it's like teens and they have like alcohol or something like that, and the teacher's like, well, what's it called? She's like, don't drink and smoke, and she's like, oh, well, you don't have any imagery that says don't on there. And then the girl writes the word don't at the top and then puts like the same cross through it, and she's like, there, and she's like, now it says don't.
That's awesome. Anyways, guys, that's all we have for our nerd culture episode. Check back as we do our Bachelor episode. And George, if you could join us, that'd be awesome. We would love to talk to you about The Bachelor.